Hello, welcome to hands-on-sap.com. This is Hassan Mir. In this tutorial, I'll try to explain you the concept of implementation. So this is what an implementation process looks like. First, functional consultants tries to find out the business requirement of the client. Once business requirements have been understood, the SAP system is configured accordingly. Then the system is tested. Then the training is provided to the end users who will be using the system, and then you put the system in a production environment, and that part is called a go live. Okay, so let's try to understand the configuration part. So this is a consultant here. Consultants have access to setup screens, and this is a user here. Users have access to end user screens. Now consultants make changes to the setup screens such that the end user screens starts behaving as per the business requirements. Okay, so setup screens dictates the behavior of end user screens, and you can say that setup screens dictates the behavior of the whole application, because application consists of end user screens. Okay, so having said that, in the configuration part, you enter configuration on setup screens so that SAP application starts working as per business requirements. Now, certain tasks needs to be performed in order to achieve the desired functionality, and that's what you do in the setup screen. So when you say you are configuring the system, that actually means you're performing certain tasks. Okay, for example, here you're performing these 4 tasks because after performing these 4 setup tasks, you will achieve certain functionality, and this functionality is needed by the business in order to run its day-to-day business. This company needs this functionality. Okay, so that's what a configuration is. Configuration is also known as customizations or setup. That's what it is. You perform certain tasks on the setup screen so that application starts behaving in a certain way, or application starts showing certain functionality. Okay, now in order to achieve this functionality, you would perform certain setup tasks. Okay, so you have a target in mind that you want this functionality. For example, you want a functionality of check printing. You want invoices to be entered in certain way. You want these reports to be run by the user. So these are all examples of functionality. Okay, it could be a report, it could be a screen, or it could be a behavior of certain screen in a certain way, or it could be a program that needs to be run in a certain way. For example, transfer of transaction from one module to the other. That's also an example of a functionality. So you have the target functionality in mind. So in order to achieve those target functionality, you would perform certain setup tasks on the setup screens. Now, what functionality is needed by the system, that is determined under the business requirement stage. So that's what this stage is for, just to understand the business requirement. And this stage could take months to complete, because if the business is complicated, you really need to understand the business requirement. And sometimes business and re-engineering is also performed in this stage, where you say that you're not running business in an industry accepted manner. You need to change your business processes, but the bottom line is that you need to jot down the functionality that is needed by the SAP application. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial. I wanted to explain you the concept of implementation. So configuration or setup or customization part is done on stage 2, and the whole purpose of configuration is so that applications start behaving in a certain way, and in which way the application should behave, that is determined in stage 1. That is, you understand the business requirement. Okay, so once you configure the system, you do the testing, end users do the testing, you train the users, and then the system is put in production. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial, and I see you in the next tutorial.